Hey Internet, it's your favorite firearm loving biker here, Dennis Noble. So after my last video, I had quite a bit of interest in how the rifle scabbard and everything is made up and how it's mounted to the bike, which is my 2001 Honda Shadow over here. So I figured I'd put together another video and show you kind of the details of how that all works. I'm doing this with a cell phone, by the way, so if it's a little shaky, yeah, sorry, but it is what it is. So there's the whole setup, all ready to go. It's pretty straightforward. The scabbard itself is 5 ounce vegetable tan cowhide I picked up at Tandy Leather, one big sheet of it, and I just laid the rifle out on top of it and kind of wrapped the sheet around, and that way I got this shape here is profiling, just to figure out how big it all needs to be. It's really not hard to do. Once you get it cut with a razor blade, you just need to stitch it here. I borrowed a friend's sewing machine, 1950s Singer portable sewing machine. Actually works really well for that. Even though it was never meant for leather, they actually do a good job. It's kind of funny, and you can pick them up for like 50 bucks, on eBay, plus shipping. Tends to be rather atrocious, but whatever. There's 4 straps that are stitched on here, and these are obviously to hold the scabbard to the bracket. Making those was actually pretty easy. It's just a little strip of leather, wet formed it. I had a metal aluminum channel piece and extra piece of the steel sitting around, and from that I was able to just wet the leather and clamp it all together, and it forms, and that way it holds that nice square shape, so it's really easy to take on and put off, or on and off, or whatever. The holes for this are just drilled with a Dremel tool and then just hand stitched on. Didn't take too much to do that. Same thing down here too. There's a piece on the bottom, you can see, and that gives it the profile down at the bottom of your barrel to fit into. And it was the same deal. They just drilled holes along there with the Dremel. Same number of holes, the same spot along the bottom, hand stitched together. That stuff all went pretty quick. Hand stained the whole piece, and dyed it, whatever you want to call it, make it look nice. Of course, you need a strap here. Even though the rifle fits in there pretty snug, I want to make sure there was some good positive retention to keep it down in the scabbard, and it does that. So it does that real well. I made the strap extra long too, just in case I'm putting a bigger rifle in there someday, my 1022, which is what's in there right now, and you can see it just comes up top, about level with the top of the windshield. So. And then when I want to take it off, it just slides off. It's fairly stiff on there, so it doesn't come loose or anything going down the road. So now you can see the bracket. It's just 4 pieces. There, one along the back, another one sticking out, and this piece across there. This one stabilizes everything, so nothing can flex going down the road, which is actually a pretty important thing. If you look at it from the top here, you see this angle, and that angle is actually very important. It took a little trial and error to get it just right. At first it was straight out, and that was causing the bike to turn to the right because there was drag on the left side, turns the wheel to the left, bike turns right. So that was kind of a problem. It was pulling pretty good the first time. Pretty much you bolt it on, you go ride, okay, it's pulling, you come back home, you take it off, heat it, bend it, put it all back together, go ride again. And eventually you'll get it just right and there won't be any pull or anything. Speaking of the bolting on portion of it, there's 4 bolts, one over there, and then these 3 along here. And those are actually attached to the windshield bracket. So it's a really sturdy piece. It's not going anywhere. You want to make sure you bolt this onto something that's pretty strong, because there is a bit of weight to the rifle, and as it bounces around, wind blows on it, you don't want it flexing or doing anything crazy. Now, something I found out with a scabbard the first time I tried to ride is that there's nothing in here to keep the shape of this. So when I was going down the road, the scabbard was actually folding over. The bottom half was coming up. So if you're not going to ride around with a rifle in there and you just want to ride with something for show, recommend coming up with something like this. just a dowel and an old shotgun stock that's been cut off. Drill the hole, glue it together. Little disclaimer up there so nobody freaks out here in liberal California, which actually even this is still illegal in most parts of California, so just know your local laws. Don't do anything that gets you in trouble. But Washington State, you know, they're usually pretty cool with it. Most of the time I actually put that in this case and then in the scabbard, so that way there's nothing showing. Nobody can really say anything. Other than that, I don't know if anybody's got any questions about how this works and experiences riding around with it. I'd love to hear it from you. So you can see what I was talking about earlier, by the way, with the shape of those little straps, the humps or whatever you want to call them. How it holds nicely, and I don't have to worry about it. Also, yeah, it is close to the headlight, as some of you are probably noticing. Doesn't really cause any shadow. There's a little bit of one way off to the left, but it's nowhere you're actually looking, nowhere you actually need your headlight looking or pointing, so no big deal there. So you don't have to worry about it. If it's stuck out farther, it may be a problem, but you know, I just haven't had a problem with it, so yeah. Other than that, I don't know, if this inspires somebody out there to try to make their own, you know, I'd love to see it. Not too many people that go riding around with a setup like this. I get weird looks from people on occasion, thumbs up, people taking pictures, you know, that sort of thing. Had an interesting conversation with one of the local law enforcement guys in the parking lot. He was just curious more than anything, but got some cool pictures of his bike with his AR-15 mounted on it. The department bike, I should say, police motorcycle with their short-barreled, high-capacity magazine, you know, AR-15 with its 3-round burst setting. Gee, funny how they get to own that and we don't get to have the cool toys. Yeah, well, but it's still kind of a cool picture, though. New versus old kind of thing next to each other. But yeah, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it informative. And hey, stay out of trouble. Let's see you on the road.